I want to make an interesting comparison and some thoughts that I have about a YouTube series that I really like. Now, who here has heard of a series on YouTube called Narcs? Now, for all of the British viewers, which is the vast majority of my viewer base, this will kind of surprise you if you've not seen this particular show before on YouTube. Is that Americans, when they go to the grocery store, or they go to Costco, or they go to a hardware store or whatever, when they take the trolley out to their car, they will then leave the trolley in the middle of the car park and drive off. I know. What the fuck? Who the fuck would do that shit? Turns out, this is not just like a one-off, like, some like bad eggs or whatever. No, this happens all the fucking time. And you'll see, like, trolleys strewn, or shopping carts as they would call them, strewn around the forecourts of the car parks that these particular establishments would use. This blew my mind the first time I saw it. Now, there is a brave hero. There is a man of the people, the people's champion, so to speak, called Agent Sebastian. And he said he runs this channel called Narcs. And what he does is he goes up to people in these particular car parks who are leaving their trolleys and driving off, and he accosts them and says, hey, why didn't you take your card back? Why didn't you do that? The vast majority, like 95% of the time, these people will not admit that they've done wrong. They will stand their ground, they will make excuses, they will harangue, and they will feel like they've been hard done by to be pulled up on this social faux pas. So what he does is he takes a little magnet that says, I didn't take my shopping cart back like a jerk, and sticks it to their car. Of course, this makes the people even angrier, and it creates an incredibly funny and amusing confrontation. I'm just going to show a very short segment of what this will look like, and what this kind of a rough idea of the kind of interactions that Agent Sebastian will go through whilst he is encountering these people in these situations. Let's have a look.
Alright, Narcs, did you see this? Full spot blockage when, ta-da, cart return is right there. Well, not a full spot blockage, well, no, it's a four-corner split. Willy weep skeep weep 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 woo you. That's not where the carts go. It's just leaving, so he's getting a hood magnet. Oh, upside down. There we go. Right side up. Well, you gotta be kidding me. You left your card out where it doesn't belong.
Let me know where that's my problem.
Because that's the whole point. It's not your problem. It's the next person's problem. So you should be thinking about them instead of yourself.
That's something that's going to come up later when we discuss this. That's not my problem. That's somebody else's problem.
Now, you're going to have a real fucking problem.
Why is that, sir?
Why?
Yeah, because you didn't take...
Because where does it say that I have to do anything?
That's the thing. It's politeness.
I don't have to do anything. I'm not forced to do anything. It's not the law. I wonder.
That's great. Keep picking them up.
Think about somebody besides yourself for once. And I will keep picking them up because that's my job. I'm not a litter bones like yourself. Ah. Yeah, yes. You keep falling off. Yeah, it's a fake out maneuver. It didn't actually stick on that time, but you want to take your cart back? This won't be
I didn't give a fuck less.
But that's the whole. Isn't that the whole issue, sir? That you should be giving an F less. Ah. Yeah, dang. Boy, these carts with their aluminum bodies. But how about in so many words? I couldn't give an F less. 6 words, fully summarizing the lazy bones mentality. It's a shame. New Jersey, thought you were better than this. Cut Narcs down.
So that gives you a rough idea of how these interactions go. He says, take the car back. They say, it's not my problem, it's somebody else's issue. They pay the people who work there to take the carts back. That's their problem to deal with, right? It blew my mind the first time I watched this to realise that this is something that people genuinely did in the States. It's not just that the people who work there have to then come back and clear up after you, right? It's also that this could damage people's cars, rolling around in the car parks and things like that. It's dangerous. I mean, not dangerous, then at least incredibly inconsiderate. Now, the reason I wanted to do this segment is that they posted another video recently where he encounters an old guy and they have a conversation about the kind of mentality that creates the I couldn't be bothered response when these people get called out. So this is another video from the same channel where he has a conversation with a member of the public about what he does and why he does it and what drives people to be inconsiderate in this instance. So let's watch this one as well.
Here's Where's this fella going? Right in the middle of the driving lane. That's not where the cars go.
They literally just like they do this fucking thing, right? Oh god, it tilts me to no end. Where they put the front wheels up on a curb or something so that it doesn't roll away, as if that's enough, as if that's enough effort that they've put into to be able to justify the fact they can't be bothered to walk all the way back to the trolley park or the cart corral, as Agent Sebastian would put it, right?
Oh, tell you what, if you take yours, I'll grab this other one. Thank you, sir. Oof.
Well done.
Thank you, sir. I like that. Wisdom. Thank you. Appreciate that.
It's one of the very few instances where the person he accosts actually goes and takes the trolley back. They go, "Oh, I'm sorry. I realised that this was wrong and I shouldn't have done this." Secretly, that's why a lot of people react badly, because they know they're on the wrong. They know that they know that they're being lazy. They know that they're being inconsiderate. They know that they're being called out in complete honesty, that they can't defend themselves. That's why they lash out. That's why they get angry, because they don't like being shown directly they've done something that that is so obviously wrong and so obviously something they shouldn't be doing. Right? But anyway, let's continue.
Narcoteers. That's almost like an Anthony Hopkins line. You hear that? I love that. Well done. Awesome. You know, as much as being a card narc can get you down, having you feel bad about humanity, little things like that really help brighten my day. Card narcs out. Oh, well, we do. You just saw it, actually. What we do is when folks take their card, like he just left it in the middle of the driving area there. Well, we politely and gently offer them to take it back. And when they do, we oftentimes give them a sticker. Would you like one?
No, that's all right.
Okay.
No, here, I'll give it to my grandson.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the idea, because the idea is that people, we'll just leave it wherever. And look at this guy. He knows we're watching, so he's not going to do it. and you know why they do it? Whether they don't do it or don't do it is peer pressure. Is if they think someone's watching them, like that guy he was headed right there. You just saw it, and you saw it right there. And so we provide that very gentle, how's it going? Peer pressure for folks.
You know, in Italy, when you take a card out, you take it out of the rack, right?
Right.
You put a quarter in. This goes back a ways, or a euro.
Now it's a euro, right? Yeah.
You put a euro in, and then when you put your card back, you get your euro back.
Exactly right. And it's funny we do that here. If you ever been to an Aldi store, it's a German chain that's.
No, I've heard of them. Yeah.
And it's the quarter. And you go to an Aldi parking lot, and there's not carts everywhere, because that's all it takes for someone not to be lazy is 25 cents.
Yeah.
Or if they are lazy, some kid will come grab it and get their free quarter. But that's so that's what we do, is we try to help people overcome that urge to be lazy, and most of the time it's good, like what you just saw here and there.
I don't think it's lazy.
What's your theory?
They're just jerks. They're self-centered, egotistical jerks who figure I paid. It's the store's responsibility to put the card back.
Well, ultimately that's correct, but they have these things. What is it? It says cards here. The sign says cards here. They're loaning you this cart under the condition that you put it away out of other people's way. And you're right, they do have folks that come out periodically to round them up, but they're not here every second, because if someone wants to take that spot right now, there's a cart sitting there.
Yeah.
So I think you're right, but our premise is, yes, we all are jerks.
That's not the way you can operate, though.
How do you mean?
You can't operate as though they're jerks. You can't operate as though they're jerks.
Right.
You have to operate as though they're lazy.
Well, sometimes, but I think everyone's lazy every once in a while.
Oh, no question.
And that's why when people do the right thing when asked, we praise them and we say that's great.
Yeah.
Now sometimes they get angry about it and they fight and whine and scream like little toddlers, but most of the time they're good.
Well, some people are lazy on any day that ends in a Y.
Thank you for your time, sir. Cart narcs out.
Okay, so there's a reason I played that clip. The reason I played that specific clip, right, is that you see the conversation they had, all the prescriptions that they make there, but you can see, right, and it's not a no justice segment without talking about neoliberalism. You can see how all of this situation that we're seeing right here is a result of neoliberal ideology. I was mentioning earlier on in the stream about how the way in which society operates shapes the way we think. You're all kind of shaped by the superstructure of the society and that in which we live. And this is all downwind from the liberal ideas of individualism and the hyper-individualization of neoliberalism, right? So the liberal ideology will tell the people who see this, like the old man and Agent Sebastian himself, saying, well, the reason why these people aren't taking their carts back is because they're bad people, they're lazy, they're jerks. They are individual making an individual poor choice because of some kind of individual moral failing. The thing is that you can see this specific action is so obviously downwind from neoliberal ideology. There's like for example, the hyper-individualism. No one matters in neoliberalism other than yourself. It's always every man for himself. There is no society. Famous Thatcher quote, there is no such thing as society. There are only individual women and men and their families, which naturally would then move you to the idea that you don't have to care about the impacts of your actions on other people, but also the idea that a minimum wage worker in a service industry job is your lackey, should be clearing up after you. Like you wouldn't just like throw litter around on the street under the knowledge that, oh well, someone else is going to come and clear that up sometime. That's the road cleaner's job. Although there are plenty of people who do litter and do such a thing because they believe that it's someone else's job to pick that up. And it doesn't matter how bad I make their job, that ever enters their mind, because the neoliberal ideology tells you that the reason they're in that position is because they deserve to be there. And because you're internalizing this individualism, you don't have to care about how your actions impact them. This affects the social contract. Now, I'm not talking about this in the liberal sense of the social contract. The idea that, consent of the governed and all that kind of malarkey. And in the sense of what Pierre-Joseph Proudhon would say in the social contract. It is not the contract between man and the state. It's a contract of man between man, or individuals between each other. The idea, let me pull up the quote I had here, is that the social contract is an agreement of man with man, an agreement from which must result what we call society, right? And so if you look, for example, at the way David Gauthier would talk about it, in that he would argue that cooperation between two independent and self-interested parties is indeed possible, especially when it comes to understanding morality in politics. And he would propose that if two parties were to stick to an original agreed-upon agreement on morals outlined by the contract, they would both experience an optimal result. And that's what taking the cart back is. That is the agreement that you should have. You've taken the cart, you take it back. So you get the benefit of being able to use the cart because you've entered the store and whatever. And the person who works there gets the benefit by not having to clear up after you, right? It's very, very simple that people should be able to adhere to these kind of rules that create agreements between people, not based off of any kind of law or any kind of intervention or any kind of imposition, but the agreement between people that we should be courteous of each other's needs and understanding of mutually beneficial propositions, right? And that's what neoliberalism destroys with this hyper-individualism. And that is why I love this channel so much. Because that's why people get so angry. Because they've internalized this ideology so hard that when you critique them for it, there's still that underlying notion that you know how wrong you are. And that's why I despise neoliberalism, because it breaks. And people always say that neoliberal capitalism is the end result of our innate humanity, and that's why social program like socialism or social democracy or anything new to the left of neoliberalism isn't something that works because it breaks away from human nature. When this proves the opposite. This proves that human nature is cooperative. Human nature is something that we do care about each other, and we do have this underlying social contract that we understand on a kind of base level, but we have been taught by a system that specifically tries to make us individuals completely removed from the society that we live in and the people that surround us, that we forget our base human nature, and we forget the kind of social contracts that we should be making with people and society in general. And that's why I think something as innocuous as a comedy show on YouTube making fun of people who won't take their carts back is really exemplifies how damaging the neoliberal superstructure is on society in general. And that's what I was talking about in the panel before. And this superstructure does poison it's toxic. It's toxin for our minds and for society in general. And it creates a worse society overall because of it. It's why people will always frown against people on benefits, but not against billionaires, when that's the wrong way around. That's not the people that we should be attacking. And that's culturally ingrained. That's not innate. None of this is innate. We're all products of circumstance, and that's a very kind of Marxist prescription with which one would make. And I think that's borne out with the evidence we show here. And even the people who are critiquing it, Agent Sebastian and the old man, it's still on an individual level. It's all atomized and like a moral impunity of an individual. These people are doing it because they're bad people, not because they've been incentivized by a poorly designed system, by a toxic system, to behave in a manner that is contrary to a agreed upon social contract that makes life better for everybody. So yeah, that's what I really wanted to say on that issue. And Agent Sebastian, you are my hero. Please come on the show. I hope you watch this video, and I'm very glad I live in the UK, where people do adhere to this, at least still. We never know where that might end up, but at least in the UK, most people do take their trolleys back. I will say that is one thing that we Britbongers have over you Americoids. So, we win, in the most minor way possible. But yeah, if you're watching this, and you are American, please, just take your car back.